Imagine a man standing on train tracks. The ground is rumbling and the sound of a locomotive whistle is ever approaching. The train is never visible, but the sound of its whistle is constant and in the distance, almost as if there's no train at all. The man looks both ways down the tracks and sees nothing. No train. Bystanders frantically try to warn the man that a train is in fact extremely real and is coming fast. The man laughs at the bystanders. The hum of a train whistle still constantly in the distance. The man keeps one eye glance at each side of the track, but still no train. "See?" he says to the bystanders. "Everything is fine." The subreddit RHermanCainAward is kind of like the story about the guy on the train tracks, and I do promise to get back to that later, but first, let me explain that I initially wanted to make this video specifically about the subreddit and its surrounding controversy, but I found myself wrapped up learning about the man behind the award. So please bear with me and hold your applause as I introduce Herman Cain, also known as the Godfather.
You there, we know what you can't say no to.
The Godfather's combo, right? If you're really serious about a bite to eat and where to go to get it, then conquer a combo at my place. Godfather's.
I run this deal past this date, I go to the poorhouse, so get off your duff. Now.
Godfather's Pizza.
Do it.
Godfather's Pizza is a privately owned restaurant chain headquartered in Omaha, Nebraska, that operates fast casual Italian franchises and Pizza Express locations. It was founded in 1973 but sold to Pillsbury in 1985. However, it wasn't until 1986 that Pillsbury named Herman Cain CEO and president of the Godfather's Pizza franchise.
At Godfather's Pizza, we're proud of the tremendous amount of toppings we put on our pizza, and we still keep our prices low. And that responsibility rests solely on Dennis. He's our accountant. It would be easy for Dennis to raise prices with all those toppings, but he wouldn't even think of doing that. Would you, Dennis?
I personally would be happy being the God King of my own pizza empire. It is simply the job that everyone at least once as a kid dreamed of having. But for Herman, this wasn't enough. And I'm sure it wasn't easy. Take Papa John, for example. If anyone, Papa has proven that being Pizza King is spiritually and socially devastating work. No, not for Herman. Herman dreamed bigger. So during his next 5 years as CEO, Herman would slowly gain support and backers to purchase the Godfather's Pizza brand from Pillsbury via a leveraged buyout, effectively pulling a reverse card on Mr. Poppin' Fresh himself. The buyout went through in the early 90s for $100 million. At the time, Godfather's Pizza was the 5th biggest pizza chain in the United States. This was a big get for Herman. But it wasn't enough. In 1996, Herman would step down as CEO of Godfather's Pizza to pursue other ambitions. Herman hung up his apron and turned off the ovens to accept a political offer he couldn't refuse. Herman joined Republican Senator Bob Dole's 1996 presidential campaign as a senior economic advisor. In the summer of 1996, Bob Dole was named the Republican nominee and was quoted saying he had nowhere to go but the White House or home. And then there's Herman, former pizza baron and now advisor to the Republican nominee. At this point in 96, I imagine he was thinking to himself,
"Oh shit, we might actually win this thing. All Bob has to do is beat those pesky Clintons at their own game. Bob better not fuck this up for me."
I imagine Herman said to himself, and Bob Dole did try his best not to fuck it up for Herman. But at a rally before the election in Chico, California, Bob Dole was reaching down to shake the hand of a supporter when the railing on the stage gave way and he tumbled 4 feet. While only minorly injured in the fall, the televised image of his painful grimace underscored the age difference between him and Clinton, and proved an ominous sign for Republican hopes of retaking the White House. Bill Clinton would go on to win the Electoral College in a landslide, and Bob Dole had nowhere to go but home.
I have said repeatedly in this campaign that the president is my opponent, not my enemy, and I wish him well and I pledge my support in whatever advances the cause of a better America. That's what the race was about in the first place, a better America.
And then there's Herman, The former pizza czar wasn't ready to go home and call it quits. Herman would lie in wait, formulating a plot. It didn't work out with Dole, but what's the point of riding another man's coattails? Herman decided at that moment if he wouldn't be invited to Casablanca, he will go and take it by any means necessary. In 2000, Cain briefly ran for the Republican presidential nomination. He didn't make it far. He later said in looking back at the effort that it was more about making political statements than winning the nomination. I was joking, guys, no big deal. You thought I was actually trying to win? LOL, yeah right. Cain would say about his run that George W. Bush was the chosen one. He had the campaign DNA that followers look for, but also added, I believe that I had the better message and I believe that I was the better messenger. But I was completely joking, guys. I didn't even want to be president anyway. Just stop. Then, in 2004, Cain ran for the US Senate in Georgia. He also didn't make it very far there either. After 2004, the world didn't hear much from Herman. However, he was still politically involved by working with the AFP, Americans for Prosperity, a political advocacy group funded by the Koch boys. Don't worry, it's a nonprofit. The $1 billion Koch boys just want to make sure Americans are getting their daily dose of prosperity.
I was a bartender in Seattle until they raised the minimum wage. After losing my job, I moved to Florida. But now they might raise the minimum wage here too.
Koch boys just handing out little nuggets of prosperity for Americans all across the land. And then there's Herman, just there to help. In May 2011, Herman Cain announced his 2012 presidential candidacy, confident that he would make the devilish Barack Obama a one-term pony. And this time he wasn't messing around like that awesome practical joke he played on all of us back in 2000. Since then, after over a decade of building up experience, Herman had finally come up with the perfect plan to win Casablanca, and it was unveiled as
999 Economic Growth and Jobs Plan is a major step towards tearing the chains off the backs of the American people.
Take the current tax code and replace it with a 9% tax on corporate profits, a personal flat tax of 9%.
The tax code goes away. You don't have to fill out all of those crazy forms.
The plan called for the replacement of all current taxes such as the payroll tax, capital gains tax, and estate tax, with a 9% personal income tax, 9% federal sales tax, and a 9% corporate tax. It was so simple. Herman had just changed the game in a major way. Previous financial plans made by great American forefathers might as well have been scribbled in crayon compared to this. And people were fucking loving it.
We'll all be able to say, free at last, free at last.
Herman could give a damn what economists had to say about 999 increasing budget deficits, or not actually doing anything to stimulate demand. Haters will always hate. So by running with the 999 platform, Herman became a serious contender for the Republican nomination. Once he secured that, all he had to do was take down Barry O. Easy peasy. However, fate had other plans. In late October 2011, Politico reported that Cain had been accused by two women of sexual harassment and misconduct back in the 90s when Herman was still Pizza King. Herman didn't admit to doing anything other than settling out of court and paying for the accusations to go away. The people were not fucking loving that, and his campaign lost a major amount of momentum.
I'm not going to comment on that.
Now, the campaign also released a statement saying, sadly, we've seen this movie played out before. A prominent conservative targeted by liberals simply because they disagree with his politics. Now, from that statement, it's not clear who they're referring to in this similar movie, but
Herman would not secure the nomination, and Republicans ended up backing Mitt Romney, the previous governor of Massachusetts.
And congratulations to you, Mr. President, on your anniversary. I'm sure this was the most romantic place you could imagine, here with me.
Barack Obama would go on to win the election in a landslide victory against Mitt Romney.
Whoa! Walk off. That's what I do. That's what I do.
And then there's Herman. The former pizza pharaoh's hopes crashed against the rocks again. As we all know, whenever a political figure is defamed for sexual misconduct allegations, they always have a place to call home. This was no different for Herman, as on February 15, 2013, Fox News announced Cain would join the network as a contributor. Herman was home with his Fox and friends, but still, the thought weighs heavy on his conscience. Those pesky allegations got in the way of his triumph, just like those pesky Clintons over a decade ago. Maybe it was then Herman realized that he actually won't become president of the United States.
But I'll be damned if this is the end of me. No, this train won't stop.
I imagine, Herman said to himself. It wasn't until 2015 that Herman saw another opportunity for the White House. It came as unexpectedly to him as it did to most of us. In many ways, Donald Trump and Herman Cain are very much the same in regards to what drives them. Both 80s, 90s businessmen with political aspirations that no one really took seriously. Both were previously disgraced in the early 2000s when they even showed interest in running for president. Donald Trump even more so, considering he was the actual subject of the Comedy Central roast.
Donald say he wants to run for president and move on into the White House. Why not? It wouldn't be the first time you pushed a black family out of their home.
He was giving his "when I become president" talking points and was quite literally being laughed off the stage. But that would all change in 2016 during the presidential primaries, when Donald Trump became the Republican nominee, and soon after Trump would defy every Democrat's expectations by beating Hillary Clinton in the Electoral College to become the 45th president of the United States. And then there's Herman.